Yeah, Drill Sergeant here. Let me read something to you, real quick. The top House Democrats split on Tuesday over a proposal to block aid for Israel's military, with two of the party's highest-ranking lawmakers saying they will oppose the effort, while the chair of the Progressive Caucus encouraged his colleagues to back the defunding. The debate over an amendment introduced by Republican Congressman Thomas Massie to halt $3.3 billion in aid for Israel, the majority of which would go to its military, comes as Democrats grapple with a rebellion amongst their voters over the party's support for the Middle Eastern ally. Cory Booker, of course, and all of the top people getting paid by Israel's number one mouthpiece, AIPAC. Of course they got a problem with it. And it's always funny that Thomas Massie, now that he's kicked out, now that he's gonna go his own way, because the absolute rabid voter base, the disgusting, degenerate voter base that he helped to foment has finally turned on him. Call them the leopard, call him the face. And now he's found the balls to do the right thing when it's obviously too late. When Gazans are buried under their own houses, and the few that are left are being used for target practice, and Israel has gone all the way over to Lebanon because they've already killed everybody in Gaza. The hotels are going up. They're already sweeping the roads. So they just moved on to Lebanon. And now, after you've been rejected by the disastrous, the stupid and ignorant fools that you have cultivated in your party, you find the balls to do this. But it's crazy when the Republican is the one that comes up with this, and the Democrats are talking about a freaking rebellion. You're the rebel. 90% of the party you say you represent doesn't want it. They're done with it. If you listen to the fools on CNN, they'll tell you that Kamala lost because of it. That's not why. That's called racism. But yeah, it had something to do with it. It was a talking point to people who didn't really care, but they could use it. But for the rest of us, if you're wondering why Mamdani wins, if you're wondering why there's a Democratic Socialist association or party that's winning everywhere, it's because you suck. Because you're a failure. It's because you are a rebel. All of you establishment Democrats that find a way to embarrass us after we win. You can't just take the win. We don't want it. And these people at The Guardian say they're trying to stop the rebellion in the voter base and in their party. Well, if the voters want it and half the party wants it, who's the rebel? The one that's trying to go over their voters' heads, ideas, for that AIPAC money? You're the rebel. You're the rebel. You are the extremist. Cory and all the rest of you ridiculously foolish and greedy Democrats and corrupt Democrats in high office. And you allow people like Massie, who's been a shit stain his whole life, because he finally found a backbone on actually R-wording little kids over and over again and throwing them over bridges was his one thing that he decided maybe I'll stand on. And that guy has now the moral high ground for a party that wants to destroy, lock up, kill, and use as slaves brown and black people. That party is who you cede the high ground to because of AIPAC money. You should be ashamed of yourself. Tonight I'm going to talk about the drowning death of a young black man. Tonight I'm going to talk about the unsolved mystery of another black guy who went on a boat with 3 white people, and I've been wondering for a way to get into that. I wanted to find out my own take on it before I talked about it. Even though everybody else was already talking about it, I got that story tonight. So this one, I just wanted to get off my chest because aren't you tired, Democrats? Aren't you tired of constantly always losing the moral high ground to degenerates, to grapists, to transphobic, racist, gerrymandering abusers? Aren't you tired of losing the moral high ground to that filth over AIPAC money? Luckily for all of us, the primaries are showing a few good things, and besides Graham Plattner, we'll see what happens with that. These people don't have to stay there. And if all of us stood up and voted in the primaries and kicked these bums out and looked at the people like Sons of Liberty and like Political Drain who platform these candidates who are running, who are not taking any PAC money, especially AIPAC. Yeah. Look to them. Watch those shows. Get their names. Don't think that there's nothing you can do and just give up and fold your arms. These people are here because the vote matters. They got more votes than the other guy. We can change that. We need to get the Cory Bookers out of there. We need to get the Chuck Schumers out of there. We need to not allow these idiots, these bought and paid for whores, to sit any longer in the seat that we build with our tax dollars. Primary these fools. Time to fight is now.